Hey everyone, welcome back. So, have you ever wondered how people actually manage to live in a city and enjoy it? I mean, without having to eat ramen for every meal?
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Right. Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. Get ready to meet Steve and Rebecca.
So, Steve and Rebecca are a young couple living in Denver, and they're letting us peek into their lives to see how they make their $75,500 combined income stretch in a city that's well known for its, how do I put it, its rising cost of living.
Yeah, and Denver's not just about those awesome craft breweries and mountain views anymore. I mean, rent prices there, oof, they can be brutal.
That's right.
Especially for young couples like Steve and Rebecca who, they want to enjoy all the cool restaurants and events that Denver has to offer. But how do you balance that with actual responsible adulting and budgeting?
So they're bringing home like $6,292 a month before taxes, which honestly isn't bad. But rent in Denver, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, it really is.
How much are they shelling out each month for their place?
Okay, so get this. Their one-bedroom apartment in Denver, $1,800 a month.
Whoa. $1,800.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can already see the budgeting challenges here. $1,800. That's like a huge chunk of their income gone before they even buy groceries or think about going out. What other unavoidable expenses are they dealing with each month? Well, on top of that rent, they've got their car, which is pretty essential in Denver. That's another $500 a month for payments and insurance. Then there's the usual stuff. Utilities are around $181, internet $66, and we estimated about $350 for health insurance, probably through their jobs.
Okay, so before they even think about having fun, they're already down almost $3,000. City living, am I right?
It's an adventure.
It really is. Okay, so they love good food, right? We got to talk about the food situation here.
They do. So their grocery bill is usually between $500 to $600 a month, which, considering Denver prices and, their love for fresh local stuff, makes sense.
Wait, hold on. Did you say local, as in farmer's market local?
Oh, yeah, they're big in the farmers market scene.
Okay, now I'm picturing them with their reusable bags picking out the perfect heirloom tomatoes. This is adorable.
Right.
But something tells me those idyllic farmer's market trips aren't their only culinary adventures. What about those fancy dinners they mentioned? Spill the tea. Are we talking white tablecloth, reservations a month in advance kind of dinners?
You're totally right. They do spend, let's see, about $320 to $400 a month on those fancy dinners, averaging about twice a month. And this is where things get interesting.
Ooh, how so?
Well, we've got the farmers market love,
Yeah.
which says they're all about fresh local ingredients, right?
Right.
But then we've also got these fancy dinners, which makes me think
They've got expensive taste.
maybe, or maybe it's more like they really value a high quality food experience, whether that's through carefully chosen ingredients
Yeah.
or a meal crafted by a professional chef.
Interesting.
It's almost like,
Two sides of the same foodie coin.
yeah, exactly. It is fascinating, isn't it?
Okay, so we've covered their mutual love of good food, whether it's from the farmer's market or a fancy restaurant. But what about their social life? They mentioned exploring Denver's nightlife. What's that looking like budget-wise?
All right, get ready for this.
Yeah.
They're spending something like $960 a month on entertainment.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah.
$960.
Yeah, about $80 per outing, 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Which, Denver's got a lot to offer, so it's understandable, but... Yeah, but that's a pretty hefty chunk of change. I remember when I lived in Chicago, I loved going out. But man, those $15 cocktails add up so fast, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Maybe Steve and Rebecca have, a secret trust fund we don't know about.
Maybe. But even without a trust fund, they're still managing to save a decent amount. After all those expenses, they usually have around $1,055 to $1,175 left over each month.
See, there's hope for them yet. So they're doing pretty well considering, they're covering their necessities and still managing to put some money aside each month.
They are. This is where it gets really interesting because they're already saving, which is awesome. But imagine if they made a few small changes. We're not talking about, giving up their social life or anything. Just a few tweaks to their spending habits, and they could really boost their savings.
Okay, I'm listening. How do we, level up their finances without crushing their Denver lifestyle?
Well, it all starts with knowing where your money's going.
Right.
They have a general idea, but what if they tracked every dollar?
Ooh, I love a good budgeting app.
Right.
It's like a game changer. I used to be, financially clueless until I started using one.
It makes a huge difference.
Huge. So once they're, tracking their spending, what's next?
Okay, so have you heard of the 50-30-20 budgeting rule?
The 50-30-20 rule, of course. 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings and debt repayment.
Right, exactly. So with that in mind, around 50%, which would be about $3,146, should be for those essential expenses: rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, all that.
Okay, that makes sense. And it sounds like, based on their current spending, they're pretty close to that 50% mark already, especially with that rent payment.
Exactly. Now, that 30% for wants, that's where we find those fancy dinners, nights out, weekend trips.
The fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about finding a good balance.
Okay, so like instead of doing those fancy dinners twice a month, maybe they try like a fun cooking challenge at home once a month instead. They could even grab some ingredients from the farmer's market since they love it there.
Ooh, I love that.
Right.
It's like supporting local and saving money at the same time.
Exactly. Two birds, one stone. And hey, instead of hitting the pound 3 times a week, maybe they like have a game night in with friends one night or do potluck dinners instead of always going to restaurants.
Those are great ideas.
Yeah,
And it's not just about saving money. It's about, like, spending quality time in a different way.
exactly. So we've tackled the needs and the wants, but we can't forget about future Steve and Rebecca. That's what the
Right.
20% is for, right?
Exactly. Future them. And that's where things get exciting, because it's all about their financial goals.
Future Steve and Rebecca. They're probably thinking about things like, oh, I don't know, ski trips, music festivals,
Oh, absolutely.
maybe even a down payment on a place of their own someday.
Exactly. All those exciting possibilities. And, with that extra $1,000, well, $1,100 they have left each month,
Yeah.
they could easily start putting together a nice little nest egg.
Didn't they mention wanting to explore more of Colorado?
They did, yeah. Well, even if they just saved like half of that surplus every month, they could do a weekend getaway to Telluride, Aspen, you name it, in just a few months.
Oh, Aspen. Now that's a good goal. But it's not all about vacations, right? I mean, saving that 20% is also about being prepared for unexpected expenses and then those like bigger financial goals.
Exactly. Like we talked about before, rent in Denver, it's not cheap.
It's rough out there.
So if they ever want to buy a place, having that solid savings plan already in place,
Huge.
even if it starts small, it'll make a world of difference.
Okay, that is super motivating. So it's not just about skipping your daily latte.
Right.
It's about like setting yourself up for a future where you can actually achieve your dreams. But how do they make sure they actually save that 20%? Asking for a friend who may or may not have a slight online shopping problem.
Ooh, I know that struggle.
Yeah.
Well, the best way is honestly automation.
Automation.
So picture this, their paychecks hit their accounts, and boom, a portion of it automatically goes straight into their savings account.
Was magic.
Exactly. They don't
Right.
even have to think about it.
I love that. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into Steve and Rebecca's finances, what's the main takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest thing is realizing that you don't have to choose between, enjoying life in a city and being financially responsible. Like, you can do both. It just takes a little planning, a little prioritizing. It's about finding that balance between, living in the moment and planning for the future.
It's about making your money work for you, not the other way around.
Right.
Whether it's those fancy dinners, weekend trips, or that future dream home. So as you go about your day-to-day, think about this. What's one small change you could make in your own spending that could help you reach your financial goals? Remember, even small changes add up over time. All right, that's it for today's deep dive. Until next time, happy budgeting.